What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring you incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a construction entrepreneur, author of Real Vibes Only book, and a speaker. Please welcome Chelsea Husum. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. First of all, love the name of the book.
Thank you.
We'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to kind of talk a little bit about your background of thriving in the construction industry as a female, because I know it has not been easy. I read your bio again, and I was like, wow, that's a lot. So kind of want to go through a little bit of that to, kind of give the audience a little bit of, some foundational information about you and what you've been through.
Yeah, for sure. So I own and operate a construction company in Denver, but this was not the plan when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
In any way. I have a Spanish and a broadcast journalism degree from college.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to be the next Barbara Walters. Then I found out they work nights and weekends and make $20,000. And I'm like, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I moved out to Denver to do I'm from a small town in South Dakota. Okay. So I moved out to Denver to do my internship. And then I stayed out here and I was like, oh my gosh, the bills are coming. Like my college loans are coming due. I just need a job, literally. So I took a temp job for office staffing downtown Denver. I drove taking a small town South Dakota girl, putting her in Denver. There's a lot of one-way streets. I definitely drove down them the wrong way.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what is this place? Yeah, what is this place? But, so I started working there. And then a few months in, the lady's like, you need to be my sister. She's hiring. So I ended up working at a trade show and experiential marketing company for about 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Then I was kind of had this gut feeling. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything worthwhile with my life. That really matters. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So I did some soul searching. I actually quit that job, got my master's in education, and then I became a high school Spanish teacher for 10 years.
Oh.
So again, totally different. And, really loved that. But the last year was pretty brutal. And I just was like, I don't love this anymore. And if I don't, I got to move on, but at that point, I applied for a lot of jobs. No one called me at all, like crickets. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to go do? I was just desperate for anything. So I took a job as an office manager for a different construction company. So that got me into commercial construction. And then in March of 2020, randomly, of all things happening then, I started my company. And I worked so I built my company and worked that other job actually till April of 22.
Wow.
And then I was like, I cannot do this anymore. It's so... I'm working all the time. It's just, I was, just way overwhelmed. So finally, since April of 22, have been out on my own. And it's been over doubling every year, which is, fantastic. And it's just been, my employees are so amazing. My clients are amazing. It hasn't been easy to get here, but I feel like we're in a really good spot right now.
Well, first of all, I want to say bravo to you for if you weren't happy where you were, changing direction.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that, right?
It's hard. It's scary. Yeah.
It's very scary. It's very scary, but you had the courage to do that. And now look where you are today. And that's why I love having guests like you on the show, for people to listen and know, you don't have to be stuck where you are. You can change. So tell us a little bit about your construction business. What is it that you do in the construction industry?
Yeah, so we do what's called ground penetrating radar. It's a little really expensive machine. It scans concrete. So if you think of a high-rise building downtown, we're scanning the floors or the walls, and really that's a safety precaution, saying it'll say there's something here inside the concrete. You can safely cut here. Okay. And then we do core drilling, which is the circular cutting in floors or walls. So
wow.
We'll scan it first to make sure it's safe, and then we go cut all these holes in the concrete. And then mainly my biggest clients are mechanical and electrical companies, and then they come in and fill all these holes we've cut with all their stuff. Wow. So it's a very niche thing.
Yeah, how did you That's so smart to me. It's like to get into something like that. Like, how did you get into that?
So random.
Yeah, very, very random.
Yeah. Well, so I just started the company with the scanning only. And then weirdly, like you'd go out and the client would be like, well, you're here. Can you just, do a core really quick? And I'm like, okay, well, I should probably just buy a little core rig and throw it in the van.
Sure.
But now I do like way more core drilling than the scanning even, which is, so it's, it's like, I didn't start the company with that, but I saw it going there. So I ran with it.
Absolutely.
And now it's like, huge. But just had some conversations, talked to a vendor and had said like, hey, if you weren't working for this company, what would you do? And they'd be like, I'd be out scanning. It's like, boom, you get out there. There's not a lot of companies that do it or do it well, or maybe they're like weeks out, and so I kind of fill the niche where I can get out usually within a day or two, maybe 3 if it's crazy. But, construction, contractors don't have 3 weeks to wait. Right. They need it now. They needed it yesterday. So it's been neat to see, people. I've hired people that have been doing this for so long and they're really good at what they do. And I just let them go because they know way more about it than I do. And they, our clients love them and they've, keep people coming back. So it's been really interesting.
You found a need in the market and you filled it. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm just curious, I'm sure the audience is curious, what is the need for coring? What does that do for a building?
Yeah. So and honestly, I don't know completely like what the mechanical and electrical companies even put it, but like floor boxes or drains, if they're building like a multi-level apartment or a hotel, let's say, they need all the, the sinks for all the plumbing and the drains and the showers and all the electrical stuff too. So it's kind of just, opening up the areas and then they come in.
Very cool. We just learned something new today, guys. So we got a little bit of lesson in construction. So are you only in the Denver area or are you expanding?
So we work in Wyoming sometimes. We're all over Colorado. Like we're going to be working at an airport in Durango. We're up in like Breckenridge a lot at a hotel. We're going to go to Aspen soon. So really we're all over Colorado. We're working at a prison kind of in the middle of nowhere right now. So we're the airport. We're all over Colorado, I would say.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, my father was in construction. He's still, he's actually in Colorado. He's a Dutch.
Mine's always been too, yeah.
I don't talk to him, but I am familiar with him being in construction, and just like the industry. And my old best friends in my previous life owned a construction company here in Illinois.
Oh, nice.
And it's predominantly male industry.
Yes.
How did the industry, when you started your company, embrace you?
Yeah, I think the percentage right now is like 9% women in all of construction, like every worker. And then you take female owners, that's way less, right?
Yeah.
But the cool part is I've met friends now. There's a lot of really amazing women in construction in Denver that some of them have been 25, 30 years in the field. So they are the ones really who have paved the way for me.
Sure.
I'm not the one who's struggling through it as much nearly as the things they have done and gone through, right? And experienced probably. And the cool part is I have a few friends that own companies that do multi-millions a year, like masonry or restoration companies. And they have just really become a mentor and a friend of mine. Like I can call them up and say, hey, this happened. What would you do? And they're like, they give me advice and they let me learn from their mistakes, which is really cool. And they've, just become friends and amazing colleagues. Yeah. So I've never had someone be rude to me because I'm a female. I'll get a phone call and it'll be a guy on the other line or on the other end. And he'll be like, oh, you own the company? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But past that, then they're like, okay, cool. So,
well, I just
like being the owner, like I'm not going to work with people who treat me like crap anyway. Right. So bye, you know what I mean? So really, I'm really lucky with the clients I have and the colleagues. They've really welcomed me with open arms.
That's awesome. So I was in the automotive industry, and that's predominantly male. And I didn't really care for it. It was my late husband. Like that was what it was all about. And I just remember like I had to have more like a very tough exterior being in that industry. I mean, I was BP, I was in an executive role, and just like going to meetings and traveling and just being the only female in the room most times. Like you have to really be able to hold your own.
You do.
Be tough. So I'm glad I don't have to be like that anymore.
It's a good mix. Like, yeah, it's definitely a mix.
Yeah. But well, congratulations. I think that's amazing. You have, it says in your bio, you've triumphed over significant diversity and trauma, enduring the pain of sexual assault. Is that something that happened within this industry or something prior?
It actually happened like almost 20 years ago. Okay. And I wrote about it in my book, but I just told like my family in the last few months because I was studying in South America in Ecuador, and I was studying abroad like with Spanish. Yeah. And I ended up by my professor in Ecuador being drugged and raped, and I woke up alone in an abandoned house by myself in a frigging foreign country.
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God. I could have been killed. It is like a movie. I could have been killed. I woke up. I was like trying to get out. I had no clue where I was. There was a mattress on the floor. That's it. No one there, nothing there. I was getting electrocuted trying to get out this door for like 30 minutes. And I'm just like, oh my God. It was so crazy. And then to me, I just can't even believe I did this really. But I finally get out and I hail a taxi, and it was a weekday at that point. I took a taxi back to school because it was now morning, and it was like a weekday, so I'm going to school, and I in the same clothes I had on yesterday, and I had to go see his face.
Oh my gosh!
Like, what the hell, right?
Was he shocked to see you? Was he thinking that you were going to be stuck there? I
remember, and it's like I at that point, I'm in my early 20s, like. Yeah. I didn't know who I was as a person. I'd done no work on myself, but I obviously didn't think I was going to endure that kind of trauma, right? But like, I didn't tell anyone for 20 years. I shoved it so far down. I think it was so traumatic. I could have died. I mean, so many things could have gone even worse, but I feel like I pretended like it didn't even happen. Wow. And didn't say a word. I didn't tell the teacher or the principal. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my family. I didn't even tell my best friends. Wow. And so how crazy is that? Yeah.
Very crazy.
Yeah.
So when you think back to that now, like, how do you feel like that has kind of affected your life? I mean, even though you've repressed it, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's still there, and like you've never talked about it. So I mean, you seem like a very strong, like, no nonsense type of woman. But did you feel like that has propelled you forward, or you think that you've experienced any like type of PTSD going through that in your relationships, right?
Yeah. I think luckily I don't think my relationships were like too traumatized from it. Weirdly, I'm not sure how. Good. Yeah, but like it's now that I'm talking about it, it's kind of coming out, and I would find myself like laying in bed at night being like, why did you put yourself in that situation? Why did you? And I'm like, knock it off. I didn't do anything. I didn't do it. I didn't deserve that. That's on him. It's not on me. I'm not going to sit here and feel shame and guilt over it. Like, no, because why are we programmed to feel that way? It's so stupid.
Yeah, I was just
but so many of us do. Yeah. But actually I also write about this in my book in great detail. It's probably the longest story in the book because it went on forever. But I was in a really, really bad lawsuit for 2.5 years that actually ended in December 23. So that is when I found these feelings of powerlessness coming back up, and how these totally different situations 20 years apart. Yeah. Like how I felt like a man, how somebody had me powerless, and how, victimized and attacked and living in fear. It's weird. It almost like came up while I was going through this.
It's like you had to deal with it.
Really interesting. Yeah. And the weird thing, I guess the cool thing is now, like when I was going through this recent trauma, it was the most heavy, soul-sucking, horrible thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Lawsuits.
And yeah, they're absolutely
enough about
horrible. This one was bad. And honestly, but now as a 40-year-old woman, I actually woke up one day, I'm like, I'm not okay at all. I was waking up in hives. I was having my kids say, Mommy, when are we losing our house? Mommy, here's $12. You need it more than I do. I mean, it was bad. Like I had their school calling me being like, Yeah, your son blurted out that mommy's in a lawsuit. Do you need us to adopt you for Christmas? And I'm like, oh my God. And he doesn't even talk about it around him.
Yeah.
But it was just really bad. But I knew, I woke up one morning, I'm like, I am so low and depressed and just, this is so heavy. I can't make it through this. So I texted my girlfriend who is a therapist, and I was like, I'm not okay. And she's like, I got you. So I started seeing a therapist. I relied on her heavily. I got outside in the sunshine. I quit drinking. That's not helping my mood and my mental health at all during that time. I, eat healthy, move your body. Like, I knew I had to actually take care of my physical self.
Yeah.
To even get through it, because so that was like the difference between those two situations. 20 years ago, I didn't do any of that. Now I know I'm not okay, and I need to actually do things to give myself a fighting chance and be okay and like dig out of it. And it feels like it's going to break you right then, but it won't, and you will get out and be stronger. But you have to do the work too when you're in it.
For sure. How interesting. You didn't deal with it 20 years before. Now, like, similar like type of feelings come up, and you're going. Yeah. You're forced to deal.
Yeah, it comes bubbling right back up, right?
Yeah. You don't learn the lesson the first time. We're gonna learn it the second.
Someday you're gonna learn it. Yep.
So, okay, this is a great segue into your book. Real Vibes Only. You guys, don't you just love the name of that? So, what was the motivation or the inspiration behind writing the book and the title?
Yeah. So, okay, the subtitle is Unapologetic Confessions of a Hot Mess Mompreneur, which is like just all over the place. Like, so I never wanted to write a book ever. It was not on my bucket list or a goal of mine at all. Yeah. But I am in this Denver women's entrepreneur group, and I went to this brunch once, and the keynote speaker was a woman who owns a publishing company in Denver. And I'm like, oh my God, I love her energy. I just love her. So I went up and talked to her. I'm like, I think I could do this. And at that point, I had no clue what I would even write about.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, let's chat. And so we chatted. I'm like, let's do it. And again, at this point, no clue. And so I kind of just sat down and started writing. And this is just kind of what poured out of me. And so the book is a bunch of short stories of things I've gone through in life. Some are really traumatic, like some of the stuff we kind of talked about here. Some are in the middle, some are lighter. But it's really just trying to be real and authentic and like vulnerable and be like, yeah, I'm a mess most of the time, but I'm trying my best and I want to be a better person. And, it's giving permission, especially to women who are like, why do we feel like we have to be perfect? No, stop. Right. We see all this stuff or, oh, society makes us feel bad if we take care of ourselves or do anything for ourselves. Because again, why? Like, there's so many things that if we were authentic and like actually said what we're thinking and what we're dealing with in life, our connections would be so much deeper, right? We would find our tribe and be like, oh my God, my kids are driving me crazy today. Oh, me too. It's just like, why do we suffer in silence and feel like we're so alone when we're going through things, right? So
it's label free. Label free.
It is, like, totally. So it's hopefully, I hope people can like read it and see a lot of women are texting me and messaging me like, oh my God, yep, that's me. Or, oh my gosh, I had no clue you went through that. But, I want people to know they're going to get through anything, no matter how tough. I want people to really connect and just be vulnerable with other women and people in general.
Yeah.
And, just live your life. It's so much more enjoyable when we quit trying to be perfect and fake, right?
Yeah. I love it. You're telling people it's okay to be human.
Yes. It's more fun together if we're all human together.
Right. And there's nothing that you've gone through or that you're going to go through or that you've done that is going to make you bad. Right.
Yeah.
Don't have to sit here and beat yourself up. And
no,
I love it. And you guys, for those of you that are watching or for those of you that are listening, go over to YouTube. You can see her book right there. And this is a great place to say, where can people find you, Chelsea, connect with you and purchase your book?
Yeah. So for more information, or I have a free workbook also, your Unapologetic Life workbook on my website. It's just chelseahusum.com, ChelseaHusum.com. There's all kinds of stuff there, my socials, the workbook, and just to find more information.
Yeah, her website is very, very impressive, you guys. She's done a lot. So don't let her story kind of deceive you. She's a powerhouse, and you want to go check her out. So I'll put that link in the show notes. So go click the link, go check her out, go purchase the book. I think we all could benefit from real vibes only. Chelsea, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
I would say, I know so many people go through tough times in life. A lot of you listening, it might be you literally today, right now. Don't give up. It's not going to break you. Keep fighting, and you will come out stronger on the other side.
I love that. Amen to that, girl. This has been so enjoyable. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Bringing that like really good energy, just like that.
Thank you.
And like you said, authentic, it comes through.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. So thank you again for sharing your story. And you guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.